Okay, so if you've switched to iOS 7 like I have, one of the things you may have noticed that the battery has been draining a little bit quickly. And there's a few things I did to actually slow down the battery life being used up. And one of the things that does actually cause it to get used up is if you've got the iPhone or the iPad or even the iPod Touch, you know, when you move it, you can now see the background moving, giving this kind of 3D effect. Well, that uses the battery a bit more. Just in case you're wondering, that background is actually a little black cat in the snow. So the things that I switched off, there were 3 on the iPhone 4 and 4S. This is a 4S. Doesn't use AirDrop, but you can switch that off, and I'll show that to you on my iPad. So I go into settings here, and the first thing that I switched off was going into general, and there's 2 things in here because I can change the accessibility as well, which I'm going to go to in a moment. But the background app refresh, if I go in there, that's the apps are refreshing in the background and automatically updating. So that uses up quite a bit of power. So I'm going to just switch that off. I've got a disabled background app refresh. I'm just going to switch that off there. I'm going to go back to general at the top here and now into the accessibility. Now if I go down, I'm going to turn reduce motion on. Reduce motion is what's giving that 3D effect. If I switch that on, it's now, there we go. If I switch that on, that 3D effect of the moving background switches off. So that's the second thing to switch off there. So the other thing to do is to go back to my settings and location services as well. That's what's using the GPS. Can also cause problems too in battery life. So if you go into privacy and location services, some you do want to keep going perhaps, like maybe the maps, but things like I've got the AA app here, I can switch that off, maybe the ATM hunter as well, and some others, and that might actually help too. Things like Twitter and Facebook, apparently, they can be using up your battery life even if you're not actually sharing your location on there, so you may want to switch those off as well. So that's what you can do on the iPhone, and that I did notice that did make a really big difference. Okay, so here is an iPad, and if you want to switch the AirDrop off on this or on the iPhone, you have to swipe up from the bottom of the screen, which brings up the control center. And in the control center on this one, you'll see that you've got AirDrop. It's switched off at the moment, but if you tap on it, you get the option for off, contacts only, and everyone. So you can switch it on when you need it. I'm going to just make sure that it's off there. So there are 4 things that you can do to help improve your battery life. Clearly, one other thing is whenever you get a new operating system or a new phone, you play with it a lot. So the perceived battery life might just be because you're using it much more than you normally would. So there you have it. That's how you can get better battery life on iOS 7.